Lindsey Graham dies at 71. Trump and Zelensky react to his sudden death. On the evening of Saturday, July 11th, 2026, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina passed away. His office called it a brief and sudden illness. Emergency crews had responded to his Capitol Hill home for a cardiac arrest call. According to police, scanner audio CPR was in progress. He was 71 years old. Just hours earlier, nobody saw this coming. A senior staffer said there was no sign he'd been feeling unwell. He was booked to appear on Meet the Press that Sunday morning, a show he had sat on 63 times over the years. Instead, the seat stayed empty. 2 days before he died, Graham was standing in Kyiv. It was his 10th trip to Ukraine since the war began. One more visit from the senator, who never stopped showing up. President Zelensky said they had met twice in that final week. When the news broke, Zelensky called him a true defender of freedom and said Ukraine would always be grateful for the way he stood by its people. President Trump posted his own tribute within hours. He called Graham one of the greatest people and senators he had ever known, a true American patriot. That friendship wasn't always the story. Back in 2016, Graham ran against Trump for the Republican nomination and lost. He called Trump the most flawed nominee in the history of the party. And when the general election came, he refused to vote for him. Somewhere between that primary and this presidency, the rivalry turned into one of the closest alliances. In Washington, politics can do that. It can turn an enemy into your defender. And history rarely explains exactly when the shift happened. President Trump posted his own tribute within hours. He called Graham one of the greatest people and senators he had ever known, a true American patriot. That friendship wasn't always the story. Back in 2016, Graham ran against Trump for the Republican nomination and lost. He called Trump the most flawed nominee in the history of the party. And when the general election came, he refused to vote for him. Somewhere between that primary and this presidency, the rivalry turned into one of the closest alliances. In Washington, politics can do that. It can turn an enemy into your defender. And history rarely explains exactly when the shift happened. Graham's story started long before any of that. He was first elected to the Senate in 2002. And by the time he died, he had spent 23 years there, chairing the Budget Committee and running for a 5th term this November. But go back further to when he was still an undergraduate, and you find the moment that shaped him. His father died of a heart attack. 15 months later, his mother died of cancer. He was left to raise his 13-year-old sister Darline, and he later adopted her as his own child. He never married, he never had children of his own beyond her. That's the part of the story most headlines won't have time for. On foreign policy, Graham left no room for doubt about where he stood. He opposed the Iran nuclear deal back in 2015. He was calling for preemptive strikes on Iran as early as 2010. When the war with Iran broke out in February of this year, he backed a bombing campaign without hesitation, comparing the regime to Nazi Germany. Whether you agreed with him or not, he never hid what he believed. Israeli President Isaac Herzog called him a beacon of moral clarity and a true leader of the U.S.-Israel partnership. Those words tell you exactly which side of history Graham chose to stand on again and again for over 2 decades. Now here's the part where it's sitting with the man who spent his career pushing for wars, calling for strikes, showing up in Kyiv again and again. Didn't die on a battlefield and didn't die in a hearing room. He died quietly at home from something sudden that nobody saw coming. No warning, no headline written in advance, just a phone call, an ambulance, and a statement asking for privacy. There's something almost documentary about that ending. The hawk who spent his life urging vigilance against enemies abroad had no defense against the one thing waiting for all of us at home. That's not a metaphor. That's just what happened on a Saturday night in July in Washington, D.C. Lindsey Graham leaves behind a Senate seat up for grabs in November, a foreign policy legacy that will be argued over for years. And a sister he raised like his own daughter. Whatever you thought of his politics, that part of the story was real, and it was his. Long before the world knew his name,